You are. What? Not doing that. Sorry, I always start the meeting straight away. Yeah, they are my hangover. It was literally I couldn't I had a couple, but then I had to stop because I had to do the work for Welsh football fans. So literally
Oh yeah, yeah. To be honest, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was brilliant. That video, I really enjoyed that.
yeah,
That
it
was
was
brilliant.
do you know what? I proposed it because I had this idea weeks and weeks ago. I thought, how about I proposed it to Lawrence, Megan, and that, and said, or how about we do like a Welsh fan zone, like they did with Sky
Yeah,
Sport? And they went, oh, well, what do you mean? Do you mean it live? I went, well, not live because it's just going to complicate things. I said, why don't we just
yeah,
sit down, watch the game, have a bit of a commentary about it, and then go from there. But as the weeks went by, I thought, well, it's going to cost a lot of money for equipment and that to get the proper microphone. So I thought,
yeah,
oh, let's do the simple way of just reacting to the video. And they went, all right, then. So they were going to give me a GoPro and that. But I thought, well, GoPros are not, uh, they're not good quality with sound. You need the
yeah,
sound. So I said,
yeah.
I'll just do it on my phone. I've got a tripod at home. I'll just do it like that. And then we'll go from there. So started doing it and the rest was history. The rest was history. But I was not expecting the full on, oh shit, this is really good. I thought, well, but
No, it was. It was class, mate. It was really good. Like the best thing, you could tell it was like genuine. You know, like sometimes you see these sort of things, and you sort of think the people involved are very aware there's a camera there. Whereas, like, it came across like it was proper organic and genuine. Like, you know, you were proper buzzing. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
No, it's great.
I'm trained because I've done a lot of drama work. I've done drama since I was a kid, and I've been used to not look as I've been trained not to look at the cameras. So I'm
Yeah,
literally sometimes because I recorded the entire rest of the match. Sometimes I go like that, but the reason why I turn to the camera is to have a look at my timer because
right.
sometimes my phone can just say, "Oh, memory full" or something. Because I do a lot of podcasts and video records and everything. I'm literally just keeping a look, keeping
Yeah,
an eye on
yeah,
the video, to going right. I got perfect time here, and
yeah,
no, it was literally brilliant. And Lawrence and Megan just loved it. I thought that was brilliant. Um, and then all of a sudden, when I released it and everything, that there was a Welsh producer. She doesn't live far from me because I live in Barry. Well, I'm from
yeah,
Barry. She lives in Roos. It's only just a few minutes away.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
GB News popped up. Now, I never heard of GB News. I know it was new, but I thought, okay. And they said to me, what was it? They said, no, she said to me, oh, would you like to come on? I went, oh, it's good publicity for my work because it's Welsh folk
Yeah,
fan. It's good for me.
yeah,
And I said, oh, then no problem. And I went on there and it was fun. I really enjoyed it. And
yeah, 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 yeah,
I mentioned Barry Town and everything. I thought, oh, great, because we're talking about Wales. And I
yeah.
thought they meant well. As soon as I said I was happy to be on it and everything, I've had loads of people saying, congratulating me, but then I had one or two people saying, it's a racist channel, right? And I went,
Yeah.
when I,
Yeah.
I didn't know, but I didn't know that because, like I said, it's new, but I didn't know
Yeah.
anything of it. It's like I remember, I'll say another one. I didn't do this interview. I was really glad about it because I'm working with Eat Sleep Media, the company I'm working at, but it's a
Yeah.
Kickstarter. So I remember my Universal Credit Officer, who I'm still with, said, "Oh, there's this newspaper business that want to interview you." And I said, "What's the newspaper?" She went, "The Sun." I went, "Fuck off, no,
No chance. Yeah.
no
No chance.
fucking chance."
Straight away. Yeah.
Oh,
Good
literally,
stuff.
I said it in the most polite way as possible. I
Yeah.
said, "Thanks, but I'd rather shit in my hands and clap."
Yeah. That's polite enough for the Sun for me. Yeah. Definitely.
No, but she was a saint. She was like, "I don't blame you. It's okay, no
Yeah.
problem." I went, "Thank you very much." But
Yeah.
so how would you pronounce your last name? Is it Caws or Cause? How is it? Because I always
Cows. Cows. Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Cows.
I I got it right recently because um every time you pop up on social media or any video format and everything,
Yeah.
I always tend to I knew it was Caws, but it's that plant in doubt. You think no, it's got to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a different way
No,
of
but like this is the thing. A lot of people sort of ask me if it's my surname. My surname's Lewis, but Cows just stuck. I used to work in a cheese factory years ago, so Welsh for cheese is
Yo,
Cows, and it's just stuck. So yeah, I'm just Cows now. I've embraced it these days. Yeah, just embrace it now.
So, I mean, you've shot up big time. I mean, from my perspective, anyway. Ever since I've started working with Welsh football fans and that, I've noticed that there seems to be now. I think it's not just in Wales. I think it's happening in various locations. The football fan community is becoming well recognized and well famous on their own. You know, it's organically becoming its own thing, and it's a lot of you could say famous supporters. You know, such as bootlegger, such as I can't remember Thogden. You know, in England, there's a lot of places. And you're becoming sort of that particular famous fan yourself. But
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. But
well,
it's I just honestly I enjoy I'm doing a podcast and stuff like that. Alternative Wales, which is absolutely brilliant. Got to plug that one in there straight away. But I just enjoy it. To be honest, it's just something. It's not something I sort of ever set out to sort of do. I just started putting a few videos. It was watching Wrexham games mainly. And they just seemed to be quite popular. People thought they were funny, which I like to have a laugh. I like to try and be funny. Doesn't always hit the target, but it's just gone like that. Really, people say to me all the time, "Oh, you're famous" and stuff like that. I'm just like, no, I'm not. I'm not famous. I'm not famous at all. Like, but I do quite enjoy it. I do quite enjoy it. It's nice, isn't it? If people enjoy something you do and they say, "Oh, I loved your video" and stuff like that, it feels fantastic. I love all that. And it's just not something I've ever really set out. I know some people sort of on Twitter and stuff and football fans, they're trying to sort of like make a few quid out of it, stuff like that. It's nothing like that for me. But I quite enjoy it. Obviously, bootlegger. I know the bootlegger quite well. I know him from Wrexham games, and he's an absolute top man. And he is just genuinely like he is on his videos and stuff. And I think that's why it comes across so well. Is because you can just tell he's just a genuine guy who just likes a laugh. Obviously, he likes a drink as well. And I think people can relate to it, can't they?
Oh yeah, they can, because it's he's a working man. He's basically how we can say it's like a stereotypical football fan. The proper lad geezer. Oh, I can relate to him because he loves it. He loves a Barney. He loves this. He loves the football. I remember I tried to get him on the podcast ages ago. And I won't hold it against him because I look back and I just laugh about it. I remember I had Lee Jones on the show, former Wrexham player, Lee Jones.
I know Lee,
He gave me 3 numbers. No, he gave me 2. He gave me Mickey Thomas's number, and then he gave me Bootlegger's number. Got in touch with Bootlegger, and like I said, I'm not going to slander his name. I'm not going to, because I literally have the utmost respect for the guy, and I just love his videos. But I remember we tried to get it on a Wednesday on at 8 o'clock just to get out of the way. Got around to Zoom and everything. He just didn't pop up, and I spent a month trying to get him on the show. I spent it on the phone for him, and I think that was just enough for me to go, you know what? That was enough for me to really experience what bootleg is like. He's busy. But hopefully one day, if this podcast goes up a bit or whatever, and he does want to come on, mate, I'd be ecstatic. I'm just loving that. So yesterday with that tune, it's like 2-0 and fuck.
that was brilliant. He's done some really good stuff with Hans on S4C and stuff. It's quite funny, like, to be fair. And the best thing, you can hear the laughter in the background. They're all laughing with him, like, so it's brilliant.
Where was you for the Wales and Turkey game? Where was you watching it, and how did you feel about it?
Yeah, I was watching it in my local, my former local. I've recently moved house. I'm in Wales's 5th largest city of Llanelwy now, so the bright lights. But no, I went to Llansannan, which was my old local, and it was absolutely packed. It was brilliant to see, actually, and it was quite nice to sort of enjoy that. Same with Saturday, even though in 2016 I was sort of at all the games. There wasn't a tiny, not a very big part of me, but a tiny part of me wondering, I wonder what it's like in the pubs back home. So in a way, it's been nice to experience that. Obviously, nothing will ever touch the experience of being at the game, and nothing will ever come close to 2016. I don't think ever. But yeah, it was a great atmosphere in the pub the other night. It was just to see. I think people who wouldn't usually be into football that much wearing the Wales shirts and just enjoying the game and celebrating. And it's good to see people like that, as well as your diehard Wales fans as well. So yeah, I've really enjoyed it. But yesterday was a bad day. The hangover really kicked in as soon as I woke up. And we did a podcast for Alt Wales yesterday morning, and that was just a shambolic experience. So yeah, brilliant night. And the game itself, what a performance. It was absolutely unreal, wasn't it?
I do you know what? I think having looked at the back of the video, because if you had the long version, I was more frustrated at the very start of things because I thought we were slowing down. I don't know what they were set out to do, but my way of thinking of it, I thought they were just there to cruise along in the first 20 or 30 minutes of the game, and then for the rest of the game they would try and press on or something. But that's why if you see me leaning back, taking my hat off, going, "Oh my God," because they were just being ball at that point. I was like, "What are you doing?" And then Ramsey just scoring the goal just made it. I thought he tried his utmost best, and I thought the game was going to change when Bale missed that penalty. So I thought he switched off now. You could tell he switched off. But then all of a sudden he's pressing on. I'm thinking, "Oh my God, he's not changing." Then Connor Roberts. I mean, is he a midfielder? Is he a I knew he's a right back. Where the freaking hell was he going? Because he was up front at one point, then he was in the back, then he was in the middle, then he was probably in the stands with the 300 Welshmen. I'm thinking, where the freaking hell is he coming from? And
he's got an unbelievable engine on him, hasn't he? He's just up and down all game. And like you, I think I was looking at what the hell is Connor Roberts doing like 7 yards out in the last minute? It's absolutely ridiculous. But hey, he got the goal, didn't he? You can't. It was almost like the don't cross that ball, Christopher moment.
Yeah, again, don't cross that fucking ball, Christopher.
Yeah. So unbelievable engine on him though.
But you know, with just staying on with the Wales game, it's the fact that the Turkish players literally just switched off as soon as the final minutes came. As soon as the 5 minutes came. And that big ball. That's what my family kept talking about. It wasn't the win. It was like, did you see the ball? Did you see the ball? I thought, yeah. Who didn't?
Yeah, exactly.
But then I knew they just switched off. They didn't care. And I thought, yeah, that's it. We're gonna catch them out now. And that's what they did. I mean, look, Bale just caught them out, just sweeped it. And then they're like, oh, no, wait a minute. We're still in the game. And then Connor Roberts gets the goal. And I just thought, oh, what a special moment that is. But the fact that in Cardiff, where you had I think it was in Cardiff, where you had the Wales fans, a bunch of Wales fans watching the game, they're singing the national anthem, and also, bam, they scored a goal, and I just thought,
it was like the Austria game all over again, wasn't it, with Ben Woodburn? But it was incredible. I saw that video as well. Yeah, that was brilliant. The timing was just spot on, wasn't it? But yeah, it felt like the other night. It really did feel like the Russia game 2016. It was that sort of performance. The only difference being, I think, was I think we obviously took our chances against Russia, didn't we? Whereas, if we'd have took our chances the other night, it's not inconceivable to sort of think that we could have won 4 or 5-0, really. But yeah, it's just brilliant, isn't it? And it just. I've said it elsewhere as well. Like, I feel like this bunch of players, they've just got an incredible belief in themselves I don't think there's any limit to what we can achieve, really. And you're talking a lot of these players that they're not even playing regular football for their clubs. A lot of them are championship players, but when they put the Wales shirt on, they just turn into like prime Zidane, don't they? It's incredible, the transformation. So absolutely unreal.
Yeah, biggest definition of that is Joe Morel as well. I mean, he's hardly playing and he's doing that. And I mean, you can even say, I mean, just looking back, how Robson Kanu, he had no club. He was released from Reading. No one wanted to touch him. And then all of a sudden he does that Johan Cruyff turn, scores the goal of the tournament that everyone voted for. And next, you know, clubs are looking for him left, right, and centre. I mean, West Bromwich Albion got. I mean, I knew he was not going to get the big clubs. I mean, I think because of his age and of his experience, I thought, nah, he's not going to. But I was just really happy for him that he was going to get a club that he deserves because no one wanted to touch him. And just to have him, you know, become a cult hero as well, because no one really. I mean, me personally, I don't think when the 2016 Euros came along, I don't think anyone really rated him as much. They just thought, oh, he's just there for as a bench warmer or something like that. But that bench warmer with no club just scores one of the goals of the tournament. Yeah. Oh, we'll take that back. Thank you very much.
It was incredible, wasn't it? Like just how he fitted into that system, and you're thinking like he's never really like pulled up any trees at club level anywhere he's been. He's never been a prolific goal scorer or even like one of the top players at any of these clubs. But then he turned up for Wales, and then in this system, it just allowed him to flourish, didn't it? And then, like you say, no clubs really were looking at him. No one was interested. Next thing you're hearing, Atletico Madrid are interested in taking him. And you're thinking, wow, he's been released by Reading and then Simeone wants him at Atletico. It's just, you know. But yeah, that's, I think that in itself encapsulated what 2016 was all about and just how mental it all was, really.
Right. Let's get down to you then with your love for Wrexham and going on to following Wales and everything. And we'll mention the Alternative Wales podcast in a bit. So when did you start supporting Wrexham?
I think I must have been about 11 years old. I come from, most of my family support Everton.
Same.
You know,
sorry, same.
Yeah, oh yeah, all right. Yeah, no one's perfect, are they? But my dad's an Everton season ticket holder, and you know he likes Wrexham as well. And but my tide, my grandfather, he was the only one really in our family who followed Wrexham, and you know he used to go to watch Wrexham in the glory days. You know, he remembers the sort of the great teams that played in the second tier and stuff like that. And so he took me along to watch Wrexham, and you know at that point I'd been to watch other clubs. I'd been to watch obviously your local clubs in the north here as well, but also your English clubs, the major ones. Everton. I've been to watch Liverpool with a friend. And I don't know that nothing really sort of, it didn't feel like my club at all. And then the first time I went to watch Wrexham, I think it was about 11, I think we won 1-0 against Bournemouth. And it was just, I walked in there and it was like, yeah, this is it. This is my club. And straight away, I can't even describe it. Something just clicked in my head. And yeah, there's not a day that goes past that I don't think, why didn't I support someone else? It's been an absolute nightmare, to be honest, for most of the time. But I think the same with Wales in many ways. I think for all the bad times that we've had, and it probably has been 85 to 90% bad times at Wrexham, the 10% where we actually are doing well, and obviously now the future looks good, it just makes it all worthwhile. And you know, I think that's something that maybe supporters of the big English clubs don't quite get. You know, they don't quite get that affinity and that sort of that feeling when you actually achieve something. I just don't think it's the same. I'm sure the diehard fans of the big clubs would disagree with that, but yeah, and to be honest, like Wrexham and Wales sort of goes hand in hand. You know. There's a massive Wrexham contingent that go to Wales away and stuff like that as well. And it's just it's like I say, it's a lot of dark days that you have to get through, but it's brilliant. It is brilliant, and like I say, it's looking good at the moment. Wrexham and Wales obviously both looking good for the future. So yeah, it's we're living the dream at the moment.
So you were 11. So what year would this be then? If you were
Right, yeah, oh, they are. So you want to know my age? I'm 35, so what was that,
you're
24
not
years ago?
35.
I'm 35, mate, yeah.
You look in your 20s. You look my age. I'm 25 next month, and I look 30.
Well, to be honest with you, the only part of my face I can grow facial hair is my tash. So, do you know what I mean? That's why I look so young. I still can't grow a beard for love nor money. So, yeah, that's my secret, basically. But, no, it's, yeah, so that would have been, what would that be? Late 90s? Late 90s, I think, 97, 98.
Oh, yeah.
So,
So you were coming in when, I think, Wrexham, just having Ian Rush coming into the mix, nearly coming
yeah,
into the
that's
mix.
right. Yeah. I remember Ian Rush played 27 games, didn't score a goal. Wales' all-time record goal scorer comes to Wrexham and doesn't score a goal. So that's pretty much encapsulates what's it all about to support Wrexham. But yeah, I saw a couple of good years under Brian Flynn, late 90s. But really, during my time supporting Wrexham, there's possibly only been maybe 2 or 3 seasons where we've actually been any good, to be quite honest.
And that was under Brian Flynn as well, wasn't it? It was under.
That was what, sir?
It's under Brian Flynn still.
Yeah. But we had one really good season, maybe 2 good seasons under Dennis Smith as well. We got promotion in 2002, 2003, which was brilliant. And there were some unbelievable players in that side, like your Lee Trundle, Carlos Edwards, Andy Morell. So that they were really good years, those. But yeah, since then it's been pretty much downhill since those days, unfortunately. But yeah, hopefully we can sort of recapture those glory days again.
Do you know what? I want to mention this to you because when I say I'm an Everton fan, that's only because of my family, as you know, I think the tradition goes in football terms. But my team has always been Barry Town. And the one game I really want to mention is 1999, Wrexham, Barry Town,
FAW Premier Cup. Yeah.
So, were you there, and what was it like? Because I was only, so 96, 97, 98, 90. I was only 3. So I didn't even know I didn't know who Barry Town was then.
Yeah.
So was you there, and what was that like for you?
I wasn't there, but I remember watching the game. In those days, they used to show the game on BBC Wales, and I remember the game well. I remember... I say remember it well. I remember it vaguely, but I remember Barry Town obviously winning. I remember that Barry Town team really well, actually, because like Barry had some awesome players then. I think was it Mark Ovendale in goal and Adrian Williams and.
I think Mark Ovendale must have left around that time though, because he was only there for 3 seasons. He was that good. I think he went to either Luton Town or Bournemouth after that. And then if you look at it today, you think, bloody hell, then, that's a pretty decent transfer to go to. If you look at it now, but if you looked at it back then, you think, it's just...
and I think, Adrian Williams went to Torquay, didn't he?
Yeah, it was either Hartlepool or
Torquay. Yeah, I think he went to Hartlepool after. But I remember they were, that Barry Town side. I mean, it was the biggest compliment you could pay them was that it wasn't that much of a shock, Barry Town beating Wrexham at Wrexham in those days, whereas obviously it would be a shock now, even though Wrexham have fallen a long way since then.
Yeah,
it possibly would be a big shock now. But I used to love that competition. I loved the Premier Cup. It was brilliant. There was some great games I went to with Wrexham. Saw them against like clubs like Rill and Bangor City, and obviously Barry as well. But I remember, going back to Barry, I remember Barry beating Cardiff, I think twice. I think in that competition. I think did they beat Swansea as well? They may well have been. But that Barry side, mate, absolutely brilliant. And obviously Porto as well.
I know. Do you know what? It was just, you'll never ever get it out of the club that, we're beating Porto. And even if you try, it's like, we have had a couple of people who try to ruin it, saying, yeah, but you lost 8-0 in the first leg. But it's like, no. But it's like, no, you're missing the big point of it, right? It's the fact that a club like Porto could switch off and go, we're going to cruise to this. And then all of a sudden, they had the harsh wake-up call of, wait a minute, this team, all right, the League of Wales, you want to treat it as a national league. You want to treat it with respect and everything. But people didn't have that mentality of, they're not as big as some of the Premier League clubs, you know, and the people look at it as non-league. So to have, all right, a quote-unquote non-league team to go up against Porto, and players such as Quintana, Candido, and all them lots, you know, just have, I mean, future Champions League winners and stars and whatever, and then just to fall victim to Mike Flynn, Lee Phillips, Jamie Morley, I mean, Gary Lloyd.
Gary Lloyd, what a player Gary Lloyd was as well, by the way.
I know. I think he should have gone far. I mean, he's a friend of mine. He is, and I've had him on my podcast, two different podcasts, and I even, I mean, I haven't seen Gary Lloyd play, whatever, but I look back on the videos of Barry Town and everything, and I just think to myself, he should have reached for the stars. I mean, if he was that good to get a call-up, I know it was Bobby Gould, but I think Bobby Gould was onto something when he got that call-up in 98 to go and play against Belgium. But if he was that good to get that call-up, he should have gone and succeeded a lot further. But I think he said to me that he wasn't really interested, but that's just how you define a man. If he's not bought, he just wants to enjoy his football, then you know he's a football man. So
And just talking about Bobby Gould, I mean, like you know, his time in charge of the Wales national team was an absolute joke. It was awful. It was so bad, and I'm just old enough to remember it. It was really bad. But to his credit, Bobby Gould's one of the only managers, I think possibly Chris Coleman as well, who actually showed the Welsh Prem like a bit of credit, showed a bit of respect. And, you know, he used to go to the odd game. Chris Coleman as well did the same. And I think really manager of Wales should show the league some respect and, you know, just think what a boost it would be for the manager to attend a couple of games and stuff like that. But yeah, like you say, Gary Lloyd was an absolute brilliant player, and there was that Barry Town side was fun. That Barry Town side could have easily held its own in the English Football League, definitely. 100%.
Do you know what? I was going to ask you this as well, because it's always been a big, hefty debate. You know, it's always a no man's land debate because it ends ugly in the end. But we're getting along, we're all right. But what I always say is it's like the Merthyr debates. We always call it the Merthyr debate because it's always Merthyr. That's always the pointing at the fingers and everything. And but I got to give him credit because I know a lot of Merthyr fans who know me through reputation. I've always been anti-Merthyr in the English league, not anti-Merthyr Town, but that's the rivalry with Barry and that. But I've always had a lot of respect for them. And Johnny Owen and what's the name? I keep forgetting her name. Vicky
McClure.
Yeah,
there you go.
Both of them sponsoring Merthyr. I thought that was a very nice match, and you got to give credit to them. But I've always thought that if they would have been in the Welsh Premier League or the Cymru Premier, whatever you want to call it, I call it the Welsh Premier League. I always believed that Merthyr would succeed in everything. But I'm not going to mention Merthyr because I always mention it. But I'm going to mention Wrexham because they went through. I think you guys went through. I think a bit of a sort of similarity, if you will, because being in the Conference Premier for so long and people are wondering, is it time to go here? But what's your take on that? And was you always, maybe because you are a Wrexham supporter, you always had that belief, and I don't blame you. But was there ever a doubt planted in your mind to think maybe, it's best to go there? Only maybe for one day and then you forgot about the next day.
Yeah. Do you know what? I actually, I'm definitely one of the Wrexham fans that are more receptive to the idea of that. But I think with the takeover now, I know for a fact that throughout the whole thing, even at our lowest ebb when we maybe just avoided relegation from the conference, you would be hard pushed to find too many Wrexham fans who would want to join the Welsh system. So I'm quite conflicted because I look at it as a Welsh football fan. I think all Welsh clubs should play in the Welsh system. That's like, as a matter of principle, that's how it should be, and include Cardiff, Swansea in that, and Newport as well. I think in an ideal world, we would all be in the Welsh system. Unfortunately, so much water under the bridge, and like obviously all our clubs have got history in the English system and stuff like that. It's a non-starter for me at the moment, and it's difficult for me talking about Merthyr as well, because it wouldn't be fair for me to sit here and say Merthyr should join the Welsh system. I think they should, but it's not really fair for me to say that and then in the next breath say Wrexham shouldn't. That wouldn't be fair for me to do that. But I essentially just have said that. But yeah, it's a real tricky one. Like I say, as a matter of principle, all Welsh clubs should play in Wales. But I think we're a long way away from that, if it ever happens, to be honest. And of course it happens in other countries as well. You've got Andorran sides, I think, who play in the Spanish system, and I believe anyway. I think there's other nations who do it as well, but
I think Liechtenstein do it with Switzerland leagues as well. I think they do it some ways.
Yeah, there are a few nations.
Oh yeah,
there are a few nations who do it. But yeah, like, I think, to be honest with you though, just going to talk about Merthyr. I'm sure Merthyr fans would disagree, but if I was a Merthyr fan, I would want to play in the Welsh system. I don't really, as it stands, I don't really see the attraction for Merthyr to be playing, I don't know, like Tiverton Town or you know. I actually think they'd really enjoy it. I see, like with Colwyn Bay now. Colwyn Bay as a football club have had a new lease of life by joining the Welsh system. Their crowds have gone up nearly 3 times as many as they were getting in the English system. They've got a couple of brilliant local derbies against the likes of Llandudno. I think
Bangor as well, you know.
Yeah, Bangor. There's some massive local derbies along the coast there, and you know, I think they had their local derby before the pandemic against Llandudno. There was over 1,000 fans there. Well, they haven't had more than 1,000 fans for probably about 15 years, I don't think, Colwyn Bay. So, yeah, I just look at that and I sort of think Merthyr Town are a bigger club than Colwyn Bay. I get that, they are. But yeah, I think Merthyr would be a brilliant addition to the Welsh system. I'd love to see them join. But yeah, just quickly about Wrexham, I think I mean, no Wrexham fans really would want it at the moment to join the Welsh system. But certainly for me, as a matter of principle, I would love to see either all the Welsh clubs join the Welsh system or realistically none of them, because you're not going to get maybe Wrexham joining if Newport, Cardiff and Swansea don't commit to it either. So I think we're a long way off that happening, to be honest.
Oh no, I get you. I honestly get you, and it's like I mean, before I started this podcast, I've always been the type of person with when it comes to Merthyr, and I always try and keep my my rivalry side of things, because of being a Barry Town supporter with Merthyr being the rivals. I'm like, I keep it to one side. But before then, I always been like, well, they should, because I always called them the Monty Python's Black Knight, because they've always went into administration, so they chop the arm off. It's like, no, it's just a flesh. We'll carry on in English. We'll carry on. And then
that's a great analogy, by the way. I like that. Yeah.
I know, but it basically is, and that's no disrespect to Merthyr. If we want to carry on, let them carry on, because with the new business opportunities and with the new sponsors and the new ambitions, I go for it. I'm more than happy for them to do that. But I've always just imagined them being the Black Knight in the Monty Python film, where one administration comes, bam, the leg comes off. Another one, they lose their players. They can't pay no more than £200. Bam, the other one. They folded, bam, another one. So it's just, and they keep saying, no, I'll keep going, we'll keep going. But I would love to see a Barry and Merthyr game once again, because that would be absolutely phenomenal to see. And one thing about Wrexham, though, I was just so, I was a bit, Wrexham would be lovely in the Welsh League. I would see that, but at the same time, I go, actually, I really want to see him in the league again. That was me. I mean, that's me. Yeah. I love to see Wrexham in the Football League again, because you guys don't deserve to be in the conference. You deserve to be in the Football League once again. I think it's just, I don't know, from your perspective, from an outsider's perspective, it's just a string of bad luck, I think.
Financial mismanagement and well, I say mismanagement. It wasn't mismanagement. I could go into it for ages, but top and bottom is we had 2 separate owners in a row in the mid-2000s. 2000s, and they came in and they just sort of, you know, raped the club of its resources, basically. And we're still sort of, well, up until the takeover recently, we've been sort of, you know, trying to rectify that, trying to recover from that, really. But obviously now things are looking really good. The new owners, they're putting money in, they're making all the right noises, they're appointing good people to the football side, on the main anyway. And it's looking good off the field at the moment, which you probably couldn't have said that for too many years. Got to say as well that the supporters trust did a great job in steadying the ship, but they just didn't have that capital just to push the club a bit further. The club had got a bit stale and stuff under fan ownership, and you know, as a principle, fan ownership's brilliant, but I think sometimes unless you've got a little bit of investment, it's tough to really drive forward. So yeah, the takeover came at the right time, and I think hopefully now with the money involved that's been invested, I think we should be hopefully back in the Football League sooner rather than later.
You know what? It's mad to think. I think it's still a pipe dream. You know, it's still thinking to yourself, is it real that Deadpool and the guy from Always Sunny in Philadelphia come in with the investment? So when you heard the news about these two actors coming in and investing their time and money with Wrexham Football Club, a club in North Wales, and you couldn't get any more random than that, but what was your initial response? Did you just go, is this a fucking wind-up or something?
Yeah. I mean, there was just ridiculous rumours coming everywhere. Like, everyone was saying, we'd heard that it was people based in America. They were very well-known worldwide. And that's all we were told originally. And then, you know, obviously people start the rumours. There was rumours about Russell Crowe because he's got family in, like, Rostocken or something like that. And, you know, just like stupid rumours, all these different names coming out. And very few people actually got it right with the rumours. And then when the names came out, I'm a big fan of It's Always Sunny as well. So I was quite excited about that more than Ryan Reynolds, even though he's a bigger star. So, yeah, it's crazy, absolutely crazy. And it took a while to get my head around it. I'm still not convinced I have got my head around it, really, at like 12 months on. But, yeah, for me, it's just, I think it's great to have all this sort of publicity and, like, you know, to see the club, you know, featuring Hollywood. All these different, Hollywood and stuff like that. It's brilliant. But all the fans really care about is that there'll be good owners and hopefully put a bit of investment in. Well, they already have put investment in. So that's the main thing. Yeah. Anything else that comes with it is just a bonus for me, really.
Do you know what? It's even more of a bonus because I think, you know, when you get a lot of owners who say they want to invest their money and time into the club, they want to bring the community together, and they just don't. And that's the sad reality of it. There are a lot of owners who say they're going to do that and then they just don't. But Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they've come in and they've gone, right, we need to get on their level. They don't need to get on ours. We need to get on their level. And they've come in and they've embraced the Welsh language. They basically embraced Welsh culture. I mean, you got to see Rob McElhenney. He's loving Wales at the moment. He's writing in Welsh or tweeting in Welsh. He's embracing it, same as Ryan Reynolds, and he's did the video, get the documentary. They basically sold the Welsh language to a wider audience without knocking it down or taking a piss out of it. And I thought, my God, they're doing it right. There's actually some people doing it right.
It is incredible. Especially for me, I just love to see it, like, tweeting in Welsh. It still feels surreal, you know, Rob McElhenney at the top with a blue tick and then, you know, Welsh language underneath. Absolutely brilliant. And like you say, you know, quite often when people talk about, like, the Welsh language and stuff, you almost get like, you expect it to be a piss take because that's all you really see most of the time. But they are, like you said, you put it perfectly. They're doing it. They're doing it perfectly. They're just doing it the right way. And yeah, it's so far they're making all the right noises and everything's going really well. It's just typical Wrexham. We managed to blow it with the playoffs and stuff like that. We just need to get it right on the pitch now. But I think, I think with the people we've got on the non-playing side now, I think if we can just get the right manager in, the club's going to go strength to
Yeah.
strength. And also, just talking about Wales and stuff, it'd be great when we get the Cop done to see more Wales games there. Probably only friendlies, but even so, it's
I agree.
great to see. Yeah,
I totally agree with you. There needs to be more games up in the
Yeah.
racecourse ground, without a doubt. And if you know what, it's going to be down to, because is the racecourse owned by Wrexham? Am I right in saying that? Is it owned by Wrexham?
Yeah, they've took over the
Right.
control of the running of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so if Rob McElhenney, and Ryan Reynolds, they're at the helm now, they're embracing the Welsh language, there is got to be no way they're not going to seize the opportunity and go, do you know what? And the thing is as well, they looked into the history of the club as well, and probably the stadium gone, wait a minute, they've had Welsh matches in the past. Well, why can't we do it now? Yeah. And they're going to do it. And I love to go to the race. I've never been, and I've never been, and I've always gone past it by train because my dad's an Everton fan. Yeah. I just love to see that, and especially as well with the one thing I really, really admired what those two guys would have done is the fact that both of them went through XYZ, because obviously the supporters trust are not going to fully trust someone with money to come in without actually knowing what the set of goals are. And they've come in and done that. And what really done it for me was when Rob McElhenney said it 3 or 4 times when oh yeah, we're going to destroy Chester. Did I mention Chester? Oh yeah, we're going to do Chester. And I just thought, I got to give it to you.
I could sense the piss spoiling just over the border as well. It was absolutely brilliant. I love that. But they just got it immediately. And like you say, they did their research. Their knowledge on the community of Wrexham, the club, Welsh culture and stuff like that. They're not just paying lip service to it. You can tell that they're actually invested in it, and they've really done their homework. And it's just great to see, isn't it? People with that level of fame, because they're absolute world stars, just paying as well. There is as Welsh people and Wrexham fans, just the respect we deserve. In a way, we're not used to it. Like I say, you get so many people just taking the piss and stuff like that at the Welsh language and all that. And it's great to see people with that sort of gravitas, I suppose, to showing us the respect that they are, and they really have done their homework, like I say.
And they're genuine businessmen. They're not just actors who are just looking to earn a few quid. They are genuine businessmen. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is one of them. I don't know about Rob McElhenney, but I think I saw some bits and pieces that he's done with investments. But if you look at Ryan Reynolds, my God, has he invested in? He owns companies. He's invested in the gin, which has now come to Wrexham, and he's literally coming in as a good businessman. He's bringing his fame with him, the attention with him for Wrexham. He's embraced the language, the culture, same as Rob McElhenney. They've just done it the most perfect step-by-step going. And if they do so well in getting Wrexham out of the conference or anything like that, and say touchwood, say in 10, 20 years from now, they said, right, we want to sell it, but they're going to sell it to new owners. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a grand job that there's going to be two statues of them, of Deadpool or something like that, going, they saved us.
Could you imagine? On Mold Road, like 2 statues of Hollywood celebrities. But it wouldn't be as bad as the Michael Jackson one at Craven Cottage, I suppose, would it? So,
I remember that. I just thought, what is going on? You only came for one thing.
I know. Yeah. It'd be like Everton having a Rocky statue, Sylvester Stallone or something.
I would love that. But going on to Wales stories, and then we'll mention alternative Wales as well. I mean, I grew up with the heartbreak sort of under the Toshak era, and I remember my first ever game was the Millennium Stadium, and it was Wales v Northern Ireland, and it finished 2-2. And I remember I didn't watch most of the games because I was not into football that much. And I remember I just closed my ears because all you hear was Wales fans going, Wales, Wales. Yeah. But the thing is as well, I remember back then, that was the only chant we ever did.
Yeah.
It was like Wales, Wales. And it was just thinking, how far have we come? Because now we've got
incredible.
But then after but it's like a lot of people were talking about John Toshak as the one because he brought in the youngsters. I disagree because he had no choice because the senior players just either suddenly retired or just basically said, I don't want to play under Toshak. Yeah. I'm going to go. And I don't blame the senior players because they knew better than I would probably. But it was Gary Speed that really got that. He said, right, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm going to do with the Welsh team. And he just got it. And he took it by the scruff of the necks and gone, right, come on, let's go for it.
Yeah.
And it is tragic death and everything. But for you as a Wales fan, because obviously a lot longer than me, a little bit older than me, even though you don't look like
Cheers,
So, I mean, you went through what? So you said 11 years. So you went through the gold era, Mark Hughes. You went through John Toshak. And obviously we're living through the Gary Speed, Chris Coleman, Giggs, and Rob Page era. But what's that like for you to be going through all those different eras in football?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just about old enough to remember Toshak's first period. Well, I say period in charge. It was about a month, and he sacked because it's not sacked. He resigned because he had a bit of criticism after the Norway game. We lost a friendly against Norway, and he resigned straight away. So to be honest, I was disappointed when Toshak was reappointed. But anyway, I'll get into that in a minute. I think you made a really good point about Toshak as well, to be fair. But I remember the Gould era, but I wasn't really a match-going fan then. I was still quite young. I was 13 when I went to my first Wales game. And that was, 12 or 13. And that was Switzerland at the racecourse. I think we lost 2-0, if I'm right. I think so. That was the sort of period in between. They were sort of renovating the Arms Park into what is now the Millennium Stadium. And that's the sort of period I first remember. I used to watch most of the games on TV. And then I went to Cardiff for the first time. I remember a 1-1 draw against Norway in the year 2000. And that was a great experience for me. I think I was 14 at the time, going to Cardiff. The atmosphere and that wow factor when you walked into the Millennium Stadium, it was absolute, because it's such an impressive stadium. I don't like it for Wales games because I remember the Toshak years and going there and there was like 20,000 and a 75,000 capacity, and they were just really bleak years. And when you were saying before, all you had then, talking about the fan culture and stuff, you're absolutely spot on. Wales fan culture has changed so much over the years. Sort of go back to before my time, it was the inter-club years in the 70s and 80s, and obviously that was quite negative. And then the 90s and 2000s, especially the 2000s, it was the Toshak years. And when you said you were going when you went in, I thought you were talking about the horns, because all you could hear was horns, wasn't it? In those days, it was just but yeah, fan culture's come so far. I love that. I love the whole concept of the red wall. We've got so many chants, and the atmosphere is always good at Wales games. Even at the Albania friendly game, I wasn't there, but I could hear it over the TV. I think, was there 6,000 there?
Yeah, I was one of them.
Yeah, we were brilliant. Yeah, I was in London. I couldn't make it, but yeah, over the TV, the atmosphere came across really well. And I was thinking to myself, back in the day, at the Millennium, there might have been 50, 60,000 at Millennium. There was a better atmosphere there with 6,000 at the Cardiff City Stadium than there ever was under the Toshak years, when there was more fans there. And yet, what you said as well about Toshak, I think you're absolutely right. I completely agree. I know it's a bit of a sort of bone of contention with Wales fans. Some think Toshak was vital for what we've enjoyed over the last few years. I'm not so sure. I think Toshak played the players that he played the best players available to him. It wasn't a case of, I'm going to tell all these players to retire. He played the best players available to him, and they were pretty bleak years for me. I really didn't enjoy the Toshak years at all. But yeah, I think maybe you can say he deserves a bit of credit. But like you said, for me, it all really kicked off with Gary Speed. He brought the professionalism in. I mean, we talk about Toshak. Toshak didn't have a mobile phone. He was the manager of Wales, and he didn't have a mobile phone, so he couldn't even speak to his players and stuff like that.
You couldn't even get some of the players' names right, apparently, because
yeah,
I was watching. Sorry to cut you off. Then
no, it's all right.
I was listening to Tudor Jones's podcast recently with Ashley Williams, and he was talking about when he was doing the names. He was doing the names for a game. I can't remember. He kept getting Jermaine Easter's name wrong. He kept saying Jerome, and he said it 3 or 4 times, and he was like, "No, my name's Jermaine," and he kept getting it wrong. And that's the sort of thing where, as a manager, if you're playing for someone like John Toshak, and don't get me wrong, Welsh, I mean, what a legend he is as a player.
Yeah.
He is a successful manager. He went to Real Madrid. He won the La Liga with them and whatever. But I think as a Wales manager, for his legacy, he's not going to be remembered as one of the best. If not, he's going to be remembered. He's going to be in the Bobby Gould category because of he just basically didn't bring that hope and desire to thrive. Whereas Gary Speed, a young manager came in, and I think did you ever doubt it with Gary Speed at first because his only previous experience was Sheffield United, but that was 4 months of it in the Championship. I was thinking.
Yeah, I didn't think it was a good appointment at all at the time. Thankfully, I was proven massively wrong. But then, to be honest, after I think the first 3 or 4 games were pretty poor with Gary Speed in charge. I remember a 3-0 loss to Ireland. I think that was his first game in that very short-lived Carling Nations Cup. What a rubbish tournament that was. And we lost 3-0 to Ireland. I think we beat Northern Ireland, then we lost to Scotland. And then I remember the England game at the Millennium Stadium, which was just, it was awful, to be quite honest. But at that point, you couldn't really see, you couldn't really see any progression. But then I think, I think it was Montenegro we played. Montenegro, and you could see them. I think we went 2-1, and you were like, "Whoa!" That was because they were a good side back then as well. You could see, wow, that he's actually got him playing. He's got a system of play. He's trusted Aaron Ramsey with the armband as well, and then we played against England at Wembley. And we lost 1-0. And to be fair, we absolutely dominated the second half.
Ernie, man.
It was brilliant. Yeah. Ernie's miss. I was sat just behind there. And I think it's still travelling into orbit now. I can't believe he missed that. It was an open goal, man. I loved Ernie as well. What a player he was for Wales. And to be honest, I think there was only 2,000 Wales fans there, but the atmosphere was absolutely awesome. And you could just sense it. You could sense something was building. And then, obviously, a couple of months later, absolutely devastated. I've never ever, before or since, cried about losing, like someone I've never met or someone I don't know. But it was, as a Welsh football fan, it was devastating when Gary Speed, because...
he brought the belief and hope. That's
absolutely,
he brought
absolutely. It back. And Chris Coleman himself said he set the ball rolling. He said, without Speed, what we achieved in 2016, it wouldn't have happened. Without him, it wouldn't have happened. And to be fair,
sorry,
if you've got a feel for Chris Coleman as well, taking over his mate, and that must have been so hard. And he was getting criticism after the first few performances, and I mean, what an unbelievable job Chris Coleman did as well.
I know,
incredible.
Where were you when you heard Gary Speed passed away? Because I remember mine big. I can picture it. It was right in front of me. I was in Cardiff. I was with my grandparents and my uncle, because normally around that we have this little tradition. Oh, not anymore now because I've gotten a lot older, but. We have this little tradition where we go on a Sunday to Cardiff to go shopping and everything. And I remember just going into the centre of Cardiff, right? And I just remember it was right near the Iron Bevan statue as I'm walking past. And for some reason, I just felt this eerie feeling of something's not right. Something's really off-putting, but I couldn't put my finger on it, right? So an hour goes by, and me and my grandparents and my uncle went, right, we're all gonna go get something to eat. Where you going, Rhys? I'm going to McDonald's. All right, we're going to this pub. Right, you go and you go. All right, no problem. So I go into the pub and I look at my phone, and then all of a sudden someone just said, I can't believe he died. And I just went, who died? And just out of random, just went, oh, who died? And because they could have been talking about the family members for all I care. And, and I went, oh, who died? And they just went, oh, Gary Speed. And I just went, what? And then he went, Gary Speed has died. He took his own life. And I just went, no, that's not, no. And at one point I thought I was going to tell him, you're lying. You know, it's like, oh yeah, big fat liar. It's like, are you English guys or something like that? Do you really hate the Welsh that bad? But no, they were right. And I just sat there and just thought, I felt I lost a family member, even though I didn't know that Gary Speed.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I met Gary Speed as well. If you see in the video, if you look back on it, in the corner, there's a framed Gary Speed autograph with two of his pictures playing for Wales and managing Wales, right? Wow. I remember it was months before he passed away, and he was outside the Cardiff City Stadium. I'm collecting autographs, and Gary Speed comes walking through the car park, just casually. I think he was in a rush for something, because you could tell from his body language, like, oh, I'm in a rush. But people went over and just said, I know you're busy. You're probably late. And he went, no, that's fine. And he stopped to give autographs and pictures, even though he was running late. I had a picture with him, and people, the bouncers there going, oh, come on. He was like doing this, saying, no, it's fine. I'm thinking that's how you describe what a true character he was. And just to bring that hope and belief. But at the same time, when Cookie came in, we'll call him Cookie now. I just realized we'll call him Cookie. We don't even know him. We're calling him Cookie. Cookie. But that works well. I started calling him, I always called him Coleman, but now I'm calling him Cookie. But when he came in, I was a bit, not just because so I've been supporting Barry since 2011, but I was supporting Cardiff around that time, and my support for Cardiff was fading because of Barry. But I remember there was that inside of me thinking, he's not going to do well. I know he's not going to do well. Look at his track record. I mean, he came from fucking the Greek leagues, and
that's it.
Managing, and then and I will never forget the animosity he had from Cardiff fans when he appointed Ashley Williams as captain, but Ashley Williams, I think he was a little bit older than Ramsey, and I think Coleman believed that Ashley had that awe about him. And my phone's going off. Oh, it's my dad's the Everton fan. I thought, oh, why did he? It's a typical Jack, appointing a Jack as captain. Why did they do that to Ramsey? But looking back at it now, I think, do you know what? That was a wise choice. Because Ramsey was only 20. Maybe Speed saw something. Maybe there was something that Speed had plans for him, and maybe it would have worked, and maybe it didn't. But Coleman, I think, made the wise decision looking back at it. And I look back and I think, I shouldn't have said that about Coleman. I shouldn't have said that.
We all said stuff that we shouldn't have said at the time. I'm sure we did. I think it was the Serbia home game. We lost 6-1 against Serbia away. And I think we lost 3-0 at home. And after that home game, was the only time I said, I think Coleman's got to go. And it was abysmal. It was so bad.
He was thinking of leaving as well, because he
But it was after that. I'm not sure if it was after that game. But he went, right. He said this himself, Cookie. We'll all call him Cookie now. But yeah, Cookie said after that game, I was trying to just copy what Gary Speed was doing, because I thought that was the right thing to do. But he said at some point, no, I have to be my own man. I have to do what I think is right. And so he made a few changes. Ashley Williams was one of them. And I think he changed the style of play as well. Coleman enjoyed like a more of a possession style of play, I suppose. And we never look back since then. It's pretty much been success all the way since that moment. You know, obviously we failed to qualify for the World Cup 2017 or World Cup 2018.
Do you know what? I was actually glad we didn't, to be perfectly honest with you.
I think it was probably, as much as I love Coleman, it was probably time for him to go then.
Yeah.
And to be fair, again, I've got a track record of calling it wrong. Well, maybe I was right in the long run, but I didn't want gigs. I really didn't want gigs. But then he got us qualified. You know, what's come after that? I think we're better for legal reasons. We won't go into that. But,
no, we won't. I've actually said a few things, not slandering. I just said I said it in a more in a working ethic type of conversations, because I said it to I don't know if you know him, Luke Williams. He's a good friend of mine.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
The famous radio presenter, Luke Williams.
Yeah, famous radio presenter. Yeah. He's free on Thursdays, ladies and gentlemen. He's free on Thursdays. But one thing that I said to Luke is that whatever job you make, all right, I'm not going to go into the actual crime itself, because I don't tolerate domestic violence. I've never will. And if I ever tried to do that to my missus will kick my ass. She is actually.
I'm mine.
Yeah. She's done kickboxing and taekwondo and everything. My missus, she's had a freaking nail. So I'm like, oh, I ain't going there. But I'm never going to tolerate. But I've said, look, you're there to do a job. Don't worry about your personal life. Leave the personal life outside the work and bring it in. And I said, the first time, okay, fine, because it was fresh. But then when the next international games happened and he still missed out and Rob Page was taking it, I thought, if he misses the next one, he should not be working. It shouldn't happen at any job, really. It just shouldn't. Yeah. Not at any job. Even at my workplace, right? I'm on a temporary contract. But if I turned around and said to my bosses, I'm not coming in because for whatever reasons, and then I start elongating the whatever reasons, whatever, I don't know. But I turned around and said he should go after the third one. And when he missed the other international, so what was it before the Albania and France game? What were the friends? Or what were they?
We played the Czech Republic, didn't we? In March, wasn't it? Yeah.
Qualifiers. So it was then I said he's got to go. It doesn't matter about his personal thing. I'm not on about that. He's missed a lot of matches. I know it's a long gap between the internationals, but 5 games in international duties, or if not 6, is a lot of matches. It is. And
I think, I think, sorry to cut across, I think personally, it hasn't helped really with, there's been a lot of sort of comings and goings in the FAW, hasn't there?
Yeah.
Obviously, Jonathan Ford has gone now. And I don't think there's anyone really in place at the FAW, from what I can gather, who can really make these big decisions. I don't know if that's still the case. I'm not sure. But it hasn't helped. But I think finance comes into it. I think maybe Giggs is on a reasonable contract, and the FAW being the tight organisation they've always been, probably don't want to pay him off. They're probably waiting for an actual verdict or some sort of finality, I suppose. Yeah. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. I'm not privy to the ins and outs, but I would imagine that is the case. But it'd be nice to just have really, Ryan Giggs should resign. I mean, that is what should happen in this situation, and he should have done that a long time ago. It hasn't been fair on anyone. It's not fair on Robert. He doesn't know where he stands, and it seems a little bit disrespectful given how well he's done that we're still calling Robert Page interim caretaker manager. He's surely now. Yeah. He's the manager now, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's the gaffer, without a doubt. And I'm not being funny, right? It's like a lot of people are going to say, Ryan Giggs took Wales to Euros. And I'm thinking, no, he just gave us a little push. Rob Page was the one that took us to the Euros. That's what I'm going to say for now. I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, that's not really happened because Ryan Giggs was manager when you qualified. I went, yeah, but Rob Page was the one that got the ball rolling because A, he was the assistant manager, and B, he took over at a crucial time. So
I think we've played 10 games under Robert Page now, haven't we?
Yeah, and we only lost.
Which in international football, that's a lot of games, isn't it? In international football, so
and we only lost.
I think, yeah, exactly. I think it'd be best for all involved. Like I say, I think we could probably talk all day about Giggs' morals or lack of them. But I think that the best thing he could do for us now would be to stand down. It's not really fair on anyone. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need a payoff from his contract or anything like that. Just stand down, But hey, that's the way it is.
No, that's fair enough. Move along because of time. So let's mention Alternative Wales. I've listened to one or two of them. So what is Alternative Wales? Because I know they got the magazine as well, and what was the podcast? What is Alternative Wales?
Well, it's not. It's the brainchild. Alternative Wales is the brainchild of Ryan March, a good friend of mine, and he's sort of he's behind it all. He's behind the fanzine, the podcast as well, which I'm lucky enough to be a part of as well. The podcast. And it's essentially it's a Welsh football fanzine and podcast first and foremost, but we dip our toe into everything. It's you've got politics in there, Welsh culture. It's anything Welsh, and we're not afraid to sort of put it out there. We are big supporters of Welsh independence as well. That's a major driving force behind it, and I think it's just. We delve into politics quite a lot on there. Shout out to Andrew R.T. Davis, who's regularly mentioned on the pod. Not many positive things about him, I've got to say. But no, it's we're all quite left wing, left leaning politically. We agree on a lot of stuff, and we're lucky enough to have got good contributors as well. We've had. Yusuf Ishmael we've had on there, who did the Cardiff City mural in Grangetown. That was an interesting interview. And Sarah McCready, spoken word poet, Evra Rose, who's also a spoken word poet. So yeah, we'd like to mix it up a bit. Some would say the star of the show is Agent Phillips, Wales's worst football agent. But I don't think that's true. He's certainly not the star of the show in my book. But and that's what it's all about. It's I really enjoy doing it, and Ryan's doing very well with the fanzine as well. It seems very popular. He's spoke to Ellis James in the latest edition. So yeah, I think it's just I think the majority of Wales fans these days. I think we're all culturally quite similar, and it's interesting you said before as well. The culture of Welsh football, it's just so different to what it was like when I was a kid, and even in the years that you've seen it, you've noticed a big change, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think it reflects as well, without going too deep. I think it reflects on us as a nation. I think we're more confident than we used to be in our Welshness, and whereas in the past, for example, maybe if you went abroad somewhere on the continent, you might say, oh, we're British. Whereas people are now actually going out into the world and proudly sort of exclaiming, we're Welsh, we got to the semi-finals in 2016. And I think over the years, football, how well we've done in football has been quite beneficial to how well we do as a nation as well. So yeah, and like I say, that's sort of reflected in what we're trying to do with the podcast and the fanzine, really.
Shout out to TalkSport who made this post back in 2011. Ranked 117th. Oh, big enough nation. Kiss my fucking ass.
Yeah, no. I could rant all day about TalkSport, and I really like Johnny Owen, but he needs to get out of that cesspit. We shouldn't have any Welsh people on there. Get out of there, Johnny.
No. Well, I know one or two other people who are Welsh working for TalkSport, and it's...
that's it. Lawrence, we're looking at you, mate. Come on, Lawrence.
Don't, because I don't want to get fired after 3 months.
So I said it. You didn't say anything. I said it.
No, it's like with TalkSport. The thing about Talksport is that they've always been, no disrespect to England, because I got a lot of friends and good dear loved ones in England and everything. I think in terms of football, they've always been pro-English, probably England-based and everything. And they always give Scotland a bit of credit because they got Ali McCoist on the show. And I love Ali McCoist. Freaking love Ali McCoist. But when it comes to Wales, I think there's that looking down moment. I think anyway, but it may or may not. It's just that I remember that video where they brought in Ali McCoy, all the hosts of Talksport, and I'll give Ali McCoy a bit of credit because I knew he was trying to be a bit diplomatic, but it was the likes of, what's his name, Andy Goldstein is his name. I just want to throttle him. I really want to. I can't stand the guy. I think he's an asshole. I don't like him. I think some of the female presenters, I've just noticed as well, I think apart from Ali McCoy's, it was all the female presenters who were being very diplomatic and very well respected with the with Wales. They're going, I can't remember, one of them said, "Oh, Wales will get to the quarterfinals." I thought, what a woman. Give her sod the male presenters, give that woman the main job.
No, absolutely. And I think I agree with you on Goldstein. I think he's an absolute helmet of a bloke. But I think that probably the worst one, you've got that Adrian Dunham, who's an absolute tit. And then you've got Jason Cundy, who's just an awful human being. I can't be doing with that bloke at all. Yeah. Jason Cundy. He's basically living on that long-range goal he scored for Spurs where he tackled it into the net from 40 yards. Yeah. The guy is an absolute idiot. But to be honest, you know, you've got a few, like you say, Ali McCoy. You know, I'm a bit of a, you know, Celtic in my second team, but I actually do like Ali McCoy. I think he's really good at what he does. He speaks very well, and he's good fun with it as well. I think Alan Brazil is rubbish, and
he's just Alan Brazil. He's just there.
Yeah, he's just, you know, I don't know how he manages to do his radio show because he sounds like he's had a heavy one every single night, doesn't he? But,
I think that's why people love him, because he's got that character. I think they just love the character. People love that character about him. Yeah. And that's what I mean. It's like I don't fully hate Talksport because there are some good moments on there.
There are some good guys on there. There's some good
guys. I just love some of the moments, but it's just. I mean, I will never forget Leighton James and Robbie Savage having a bit of an argy-bargy on Talksport. I still love it to this day. I love it.
Was that on Talksport? Was it?
That was on Talksport.
Oh, was it?
And I was doing it. John Foster was the manager, and it was just, and Robbie Savage was on the phone, and Leighton James, proper Welshie, and it was like, he's like. I can't do it because you got to do that thing because he does. He
does do that.
And it's like playing well, and then you do that, and then you start talking. I'm like, oh, later. But he's a lovely guy. I met him when he was director of football at Haverfordwest. Yeah. And I waited outside for him, and he was like, oh, thank you very much. And we had a picture. He signed a picture for me, signed photo. And he was just lovely, a lovely guy. I just don't get where I can understand with Cardiff fans because he said a few things about Cardiff.
Yeah, he was sacked for that, wasn't he?
Yeah, just him being a Swansea fan, you know. But as a person, I thought he was good as gold, and I can see why sometimes people look at him as a bit intimidating because I think it's just the look. He's like he looks angry all the time. He's like, "What do you want? Oh, nice to meet you," and everything. But
I think people forget sometimes as well. Like, I mean. You know, well before our time, but he was an unbelievable player for Wales as well. He was absolutely incredible. What a player! Like, you know, looking at the old videos, him, Brian Flynn, in that iconic kit, and but like I think he's sort of love him or loathe him, isn't he, as a sort of pundit and stuff like that. But it was good to see him, though. It was good to see him on the Alice James Football Nation.
Do you know what? If it's not. I give so much credit for Ellis James. Yeah. Just with Welsh football in general.
He's a top
publicity. Man. The thing he's done as well, he's a comedian, but he's just come in, and I could give a lot of credit for Johnny Owen as well. But I think it's mainly Johnny Owen and Ellis James I could give a lot of credit for. And if there's any other people that I haven't mentioned, just leave a comment below, guys, in YouTube, whatever. But I believe it's those two guys that have literally got the media attention, dragged it in, and just went, right, we're going to sell Welsh football, whether it's the Welsh national team, whereas the Welsh leagues or whereas wherever, they sell it to them and they do it so perfectly. It's can't fault them. But
yeah, absolutely, it is great, isn't it? Because for so many years, you know, we were sort of ignored. Welsh football and, you know, the national team was just ignored by everyone. And you know, we're in the mainstream now, aren't we? And you're absolutely right. It is thanks to you guys like Johnny Owen, like Ellis James, people like that. You know, definitely.
Right, last question, and it's all to do with the Euros. In your honest prediction, where do you see Wales finishing, Tom?
Oh, right. It's a big question. Before the Euros, I said I was happy to get out the group. Now we look like we've done that now. So I don't know. It really depends who we get next round, doesn't it? I don't think we should. There's anyone there we should fear. There's no one we should fear. I think we might be able to go a bit further than the last 16. I think depending on the draw, I think we can get quarterfinals. I think, talking about the first 11, I don't think we're quite as strong as we were in 2016, but I think we've got a stronger squad this time round, so I think we could possibly cope with injuries a little bit better, depending on who it is, of course. Yeah, I'm going to go quarterfinals. I'm going to go for that. But hey, who knows? If we could, you know, if we get Belgium again, they won't want to play us, will they, Belgium? But yeah, it'd be interesting. To be honest, I haven't even planned the route yet. I've been, you know, in between games, I've just been recovering from hangovers so far. So I haven't even looked at who could we possibly get. But I believe, am I right in saying if we get second place, we've got a favourable draw? Is that right?
Yeah, I think we could get Russia, or if it goes their way as well. And if we get Russia, I'm just going to be there going, right, bring on 2016 all over again. Come on, baby.
Yeah, you'd fancy us, wouldn't you? You'd fancy us against Russia. You would.
But I'm not going to overlook them. It's like with Turkey. We never overlooked with Turkey. We knew that, well, hang on a minute, they actually really are a good side. And then we go and win 2-0. I thought, ooh. Yeah. Going bootlegger mode, it's like, ooh, baby.
Yeah. No, I've been waiting. Everyone been talking about Turkey like the dark horses and stuff like that, and you know, I haven't really seen it yet. I saw them against Italy, and they were appalling against Italy. They were slightly better against us. They came up against us on a really good night, didn't they? So,
oh yeah, without doubt. Especially with the heat and fans, and there was no such thing. There was no such thing as 30,000. There was not even 20,000. It was just under 20,000.
Yeah.
But even then,
I think a lot of the Turkey support were actually Azerbaijanis as well, weren't they?
Oh yeah, because they got a good relationship.
A very good relationship, yeah.
And that's what my bam kept saying. I was like, no, there's Azerbaijanis. It won't be Turkish. It'll be Azerbaijanis, Rhys. I tell you that now. And he's like, I'm telling you now. And I'm thinking, And then we watched the game. I went, I told you. I'm like, I told you. I was like, oh, shut up, old man. Just sit there and look pretty, all right? But anyway, Tom, thank you so much for coming on the Dragon's Voice podcast to talk about Wrexham, Wales, alternative Wales. Just have a nice, genuine conversation. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and love for you to come on again in the future. And this time we'll bring Luke on as well, just to get that nice little flavour as well.
Absolutely. No, thanks for having me on, Ben. I really enjoyed it, and you know, best of luck with everything. And just if you do bump into Luke, just ask him, Chelsea, what's that about?
Will do. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in onto the Dragon's Voice podcast. I've been your host, Julie Rhys Deans, and I'll see you all very soon. Take care.